Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little review of what we've been doing learning about dystopian fiction. And now I've been teaching this to quite a few students over the last couple of weeks. So this is just a review of the whole unit. So you might have done some of this work before or you might not have done some of it, but it's for you and just to review. Let's have a little look. So I'm not actually going to teach it now. I am just going to go through and say basically what we did. Okay, so we started off thinking about dystopian fiction and we looked at some dystopian images. The children brainstormed and thought about all the different kinds of words and feelings that these pictures gave. Now, often children get confused with dystopia and utopia. So we're going to look at the difference between those two. Right, so let's go back to dystopia then. What is a dystopia? Let's have a look. So some of the conventions of a dystopian story or a dystopian genre, dystopian fiction, some of the conventions or basically the features of what it's like is futuristic. There is a great amount of suffering, of injustice, of fear, and there's no freedom for the people. There's a very obvious lack of nature. And we talked about government control. We talked about the idea of rebellion as well. Yeah, good. And this is kind of what we looked at. So the keywords are highlighted there. And these are the conventions, the kind of rules, the features of what a dystopian story is all about. Okay, we played a little game with those as well. I cover them up and take one away and you have to guess which one's gone. Okay, this was quite a nice image of a dystopian book. This is from a graphic novel called The Arrival by Sean Tan. It's full of illustrations, so it's a wordless book. And it is dystopian, really good. I showed this one as quite an interesting talking point. Okay, so what I wanted you to do with this one was just read the convention down the side and have a go of matching it up. You can pause the video now if you want to redo that or you want to do it. And then we looked at a quick true or false. Now, this true or false is not difficult, but the difficult bit is being able to justify your answer. So saying why. Okay, so we had a dystopia is a real place. A dystopia is an ideal place. So we know that it's false. It's not a real place. And we know that it's not real, although we might see kind of elements of dystopia even around the world today with terrible things going on in the world. A dystopia is not a real place because it's set in the future. Therefore, it can't be real. Okay, so that is the justification that a few children found a little bit tricky. And a dystopia is an ideal place. No, we know it's not an ideal place because there is a great amount of suffering and kind of pain that's there. Okay, now is a good point to jump in and look at the opposite of a dystopia, which is a utopia. And we had a good go here of brainstorming what a utopia is like. Obviously, it's going to be the complete opposite to a dystopia. So there's lots of nature, lots of freedom, lots of happiness, this kind of thing. Okay, where are we at? Let's go down to, yeah, we talked about the Hunger Games, which is a novel and also obviously a movie on Netflix. Lots of the children had seen it. And we talked about what Susan Collins was highlighting here in this little quote. It was lots of good discussion with students. We talked about poverty and kind of the inequalities between, the rich and the poor. It was quite good. And then it was a bit of reading. This wasn't in one lesson, by the way. This was spread across a unit. So you might not have seen all of this over your couple of weeks. We might have just picked and choose things that suited you. So for this one, you had to say why the extract is dystopian and then explain your answer. That's quite important. So we have the conventions down here. For anyone who's forgotten, you can feel free to pause the video, have a read, and have a go of saying why you think it's dystopian and explaining. Okay, good stuff. Another little starter activity was looking at this image and thinking about what kind of emotions might be prevalent in a dystopia. So what kind of feelings might our characters have, might our protagonists have? And we came up with these ones, not exclusively these ones, but these are kind of some of the main emotions that we would see in a dystopian fiction novel. Let's go on to this one. We looked at 4 possible new words. Maybe labyrinth wasn't new to many children. Dilapidated, something's gone awry, it's gone wrong. Strange spelling of awry there. I got this little image because I thought that was kind of fun to show when something's kind of gone wrong or it's not on the expected course. Something's definitely gone wrong in a dystopia, hasn't it? And forlorn, a nice strong word there, meaning when you have this terrible feeling of abandonment, sadness. Quick joining them up activity. If you want to kind of join up which is which, feel free to pause. And then we moved on to thinking about similes, metaphors. We focused on similes with some children for a few lessons. I want you to have a little read here and see which is not a simile. Good. So the first one is because it's saying something was as bleak as something else. It's the comparing using the as. C also is a simile. And B is not. B is actually a metaphor because it's actually saying that the cityscape was that thing. So that it actually is that, rather than comparing it using like or using as. Okay, the next activity, children had to spot the similes in this passage. Feel free to pause and have a look and see if you can spot them. Remember, it could use as or like. Children had a go of making up their own similes here. So I had some sentence starters here and then some kind of clues here. So let's take this one as an example. A world as chaotic as, and then the children had to think of something that was really dangerous and maybe unpredictable. So for example, I don't know, like a twister or a hurricane or something like that. And if they were able to extend their metaphor as well to give a little bit more explanation, quite a few children were able to do that, which was really good. Again, if you want to do this, you can pause the video and have a go. This little structure was really nice, actually. So we've got the surveillance camera, and then we've got the simile here was alert as, then we've got the adjective and the noun, malevolent eyes, and the subordinate would be never blinking. So here malevolent means evil. So the surveillance cameras were as alert as evil eyes, never blinking, constantly watching. Yeah, this kind of thing. This is our extension of the simile here. This is the really good stuff. So you could have a go of this one. The polluted air was as suffering as, so suffocating, sorry, suffocating. So you need to think of something here, an object or a creature, an animal maybe, that can suffocate. What could suffocate? You have a think. So some children came up with like a snake, a boa constrictor, the one that squeezes you round. Yeah, squeezing its prey, something like that. There's another one here. Oops, I'm stealing it here. There we go. About the city's building. So we had about decaying, about rotting here. Really kind of worked well. Have a go. You can always drop them in the chat to me if you want. Not in the chat. We're not in a live lesson. In the comments, and then I can see them. Good. So more things we did was matching up the little quotes here with the convention. And oh yeah, also, have I missed it? Yeah, we watched a really good little video called Ruin from the Literacy Shed. I will link it down below in the description. And we watched the video, a really great little short video. We didn't watch all of it, just about 2 minutes. And the children had to watch it and decide what conventions they could see in the video. And if there are any conventions, any things in the video that they thought didn't quite fit with the dystopian genre. And we discussed that, and there's some really good thinking and really good observations from the children. I will link that, and I do recommend that you watch it. If you're learning about dystopian fiction, it's a really good one to watch. We went on, we talked about sentence fragments. that are just kind of parts of sentences, why we should avoid fragments. And then this was quite a nice little activity. We had a paragraph that was just fragments, so it didn't contain a subject or a verb, and the children had to kind of fill up their sentences and make them fuller with using subjects or verbs, but keeping the same meaning. So this was the structure here. It was 5 o'clock in the morning and still pitch black outside. All of a sudden, an alarm rang shrilly inside the empty room, something like this. Good. And then we had kind of like an extended writing lesson for some children, and we looked at different sentence types, declarative, exclamatory, and interrogative. So commands, statements, and exclamations. You might know these as. And we looked at more dystopian images, and the children had to just have a go of thinking what they've learned over the last couple of weeks, gathering it all together in their brain and having a go of writing some really good, high quality dystopian sentences about either an image that they've seen or one of the images that we had a look at in the lesson, and having a go to throw in a simile there if they could. So that was it for dystopian writing. I think it's a great genre to look at, really immersive, especially if you can watch some kind of films and little video clips. But I really enjoyed teaching that one. That was great. Really enjoyed it. Well, I hope this little unit review has been useful for you. My name's Amy, and I teach online lessons and courses, groups and one-to-one. If you would like to join, there are links down below to show you how to do that. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.